What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Emerald Grappling Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Murphy, and today I'm delighted to be joined on the podcast by Two Metal Tim, also known as Timothy Kerins. For anyone who doesn't know Tim, he is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Brown Belt. He's a coach and competitor based in SBG Killarney. Tim, thanks so much for taking the trip up.
How you getting on, Aaron? How are you?
I'm good. So for anyone who doesn't know, Tim's after driving all the way to Mullingar for a bit of training and to come on the podcast. So thank you so much.
It's good to be here. Like that, just had a couple of rows with the guys, tough rows. So the heart rate is still pumping after that. Some big guys there, to be fair. Yeah, thanks for having me on as well.
No problem. And to start off the podcast, maybe you can tell us about yourself and how you got started in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so I suppose I wouldn't have had the traditional route into jiu-jitsu. I would have started jiu-jitsu, I suppose, in my early 30s, I suppose. So to be fair, most guys you hear, they get into jiu-jitsu maybe in their teens or early 20s. I had finished up with football like that. I was probably going to the gym for maybe 6 months, so I was still working out, keeping myself fit and active. But there was nothing to look forward to, you know what I'm saying? It was like I was working out, but I was no goal. So I had a buddy of mine, Pat, from a club that I used to play with, and he asked me, he goes, do you want to come do jiu-jitsu? I said, do you know what, I'll give it a go. I said, look, what's the worst thing that can happen? So I said, look, this will probably be a phase by me, but I'll probably stick at this for maybe a couple of weeks and probably end up quitting, or like the usual white belts do.
Yeah.
Can't handle it. I'd say the first session I ever did, actually the weekend before, Pat brought me in on his own. So Pat was probably a 1 year white belt and absolutely destroyed me. I was like, this is not good. I had to get better. So the first night I went in, then the guys, to be fair, made me feel welcome, and ever since then, I think I was addicted. I'll be honest, and you hear that by everyone. I think you're either addicted or you're like, this isn't for me. Now they always say that jiu-jitsu is for everyone, but I don't think it is. I think it takes that special. I wouldn't say special. I think it's a lunatic that'll stay at it, and it's just like, yeah. I think, look, I'm at it about 8 years now, and I still love it. I still have that passion for it. Like, whether it be rolling with a new white belt, they might make a mistake. You'll try and coach them through it or whatever.
Yeah.
To getting absolutely killed by black belts, So yeah, it's good. It's good. I've enjoyed my journey so far. So yeah.
It's nice that you said like you did that first class, but you didn't give up, because you see it like with all beginners course. You'll have someone who'll come in, usually someone from a GAA background, has that bit of an ego. No offense to anyone that does GAA, but when they come in, they get smashed by someone about a fraction of their size, and then that's it. They're done.
Yeah, and it is true, and there is a big ego with football. I see, like, and I played football since probably the age of 7 or 8 till I was 29, 30, and like you said, we're not here to give out about GAA. To be fair, I've had some good memories with GAA, but there is that certain ego with GAA that it's just like, the way I would put it is, it's a team game, but I think everyone's out for themselves, kind of thing like that. It's like, I need to defend. Okay, I have a spot in the field, I need to defend that. And like, you look at jiu-jitsu then, jiu-jitsu is an individual sport, but I've never felt as more of a part of a team than I have had with jiu-jitsu. So yeah, that is the major difference. I think that transition from GA to jiu-jitsu, it's a big eye-opener. It is a big eye-opener. Like, I would have always kind of fancied myself in a scrap or something, but like, when you look back at it, I would have had, like, and we're playing football, you're going to get in tussles and all this, but looking back at it, I couldn't fight.
Yeah.
I could not fight, and I was like, I remember at the end of it, I was like, if I ever get in trouble, how am I going to be able to defend myself? I don't have a clue what I'm doing. It's no point going out and, say, throwing slaps, and it's some guy that knows what they're doing is going to absolutely turn you upside down, So I said, but that was another side of it, why I kind of stayed at it. It's like, at least now I'm at a stage where I know I can defend myself, at least. And I always say that the more you know, the less you want to do it, So you often hear guys going out and absolutely starting fights, and you're like, that's the wrong attitude, like, So yeah. So that's basically, yeah, that was my introduction into it. Is like, and to be fair, it is an eye opener. Like, the first night I did it, PJ would be our head coach below in SBG Killarney. PJ at the time was probably 66, 67 kgs. And I looked at this guy and my ego was like, what's this guy going to do? And then you see him actually doing something and you're like, my God, you're like, Jesus. Like, and then you're like, I need to learn that. And I think, look, to be fair, look, we all know the first time you go in, the warm-up kills us. The warm-up is the killer. Like, I would have had been fit enough at the time, and like, I wish I would have came from football. I would have done 6 months in the gym and not getting ready for jiu-jitsu because I didn't even know I was going doing jiu-jitsu. And I was like, I'm okay here. I'm fit. Like, and then 5 minutes into a roll-up, I'm like, or into a warm-up, I'm like, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm like, Jesus, I've never felt anything like this. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, so yeah, it's like, and I've seen guys quit after a warm-up and never come back. Like, and you're just like I've had my own. I brought my own brother into jiu-jitsu. My brother's probably 6 years younger than me. Actually, I brought the two of them in, and none of the two of them stayed at it. The youngest guy, I brought him in one, and I'd say 15 minutes in, he was gone. He was like, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, look, just hang in there. The worst part of it's over now. Not this isn't for me. And I was like, okay, that's fair enough. You know, at least you tried. You know.
Yeah, anyone can try it, but it is not for everyone.
Yeah.
I've said that to so many people. Like, I do be telling people in work, they'd be like, oh, what are you doing this evening? And I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go training. And you're explaining to them what you do. And they're like, oh, geez, I can never do that now. No. And you're like, it sounds a lot worse than what it is. And then when you show them clips online, they're just like, that's even worse than what I was thinking. So it's anyone can do it, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And you've been training 8 years now.
Yeah.
You've competed a lot as well.
Yeah.
How has your game evolved since being a white belt up to a brown belt now?
I suppose I've definitely been more patient, not relied on a lot of strength. I'm not a big guy anyway, so I never really had that much strength. I had some bit of strength because like I came from football background and I had done blocklaying for 13 years, so I always had that grip strength.
Yeah.
But I've moved away from that. I don't go as grip heavy anymore. At the start, I suppose I would have looked at a technique and taken tiny little bits away from it. But whereas now, I'm breaking every single little thing down. Obviously, I coach the beginners in SBG Killarney, and when you're looking at things, you have to analyze every single little detail and break it down, because like when it's fine for yourself, but when you're teaching it to someone else, you don't want to show them bad technique. You want to show them something that's proper. Like, so that's, I suppose my game has evolved that I've become more patient. I wait for openings. Like, being the smaller guy, your technique has to be perfect. You know yourself, when you're going against bigger guys, they're going to always use that power, and that's fine. Like, they always say that jiu-jitsu is for the smaller people. That's okay, but if you meet someone that's heavier than you, that's at the same length of time, they're going to squish you. Like, so yeah, like, definitely my game has definitely evolved. I hope it has anyway. Jeez, if it hasn't, I'm wasting my time. But no, it definitely has. It definitely has. Like, you see that yourself. Like, since you've gone from white to you got your purple there. What was that? A couple of months ago, or
About a month now, I think.
oh, yeah. So
I'm still fresh.
yeah, the same as myself. I only got my brown a couple of months ago, and it's like, you get that imposter syndrome a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I think it was 2 nights after getting the purple belt, I came into the gym and we were doing a class, and I'm pretty sure one of the blue belts tapped me. And in my mind, it was just like, I don't deserve this belt. What am I doing? I've let everyone down. But that's just the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I think we all get that. Like, and I think we always say to ourselves, we're not ready for this and we're not ready for that. But I think it's up to your coach, and if your coach obviously sees something, then okay, you're like, I'm ready, I suppose. And I always tell the guys below, you've gotten your belt, don't wait over too long to compete, because my thing is, you would say, for example, I got my brown belt, and I think it was within a month I competed at the ADCCs, and like I said to the guys like, you nervous? I said, no. I said, I get a free shot. I said, no one's expecting anything. I said, you get a free shot. Okay, I went out and I still lost anyway, but like I said, look, that's fine. And now I know where I'm at, and I'll go away, I'll work on my game, I have a few bits and pieces to work on. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Is like, compete, make mistakes. You don't want to make mistakes, but you'll look back at it and you'll analyze. You will analyze that video so much, and you'll just look at it and look at it and look at it, and it's just like, I kind of teach that to the guys below as well. Not the white belts, because look, to be fair, if you look at a video of a white belt, you'll show them one little thing and, okay, you made a mistake here. But if you show a white belt, you made a mistake here, they're going to think, oh no, I'm very bad. So, yeah.
And you don't want to information overload them either?
No. I think, like, even during a session, so we say we have, I teach the beginners twice a week. And my thing is, if you can take one thing away from this session, I'll show maybe a couple of things. And I said, look, if you take one thing away from tonight, that's excellent. I said, look, we'll go back over what we went over tonight, again on Thursday night, and maybe next week. And it's just drilling that into them. Pick up one little thing, try it in a roll. Well, it's not going to work straight away, but eventually it'll start working. Yeah. It's a slow process.
It really is like a slow process. And in between each of the belts, as you were saying, like there is that imposter syndrome that does kick in. But then there's other people you see, they get their belts and it's nearly like they're ready for this. Like they're pumped, and like the first competition, bang, they're signing up. And then sometimes it works out in their favor. And then other times
it doesn't.
I.e. me. But it's a good learning experience. It shows you where the level is, what you need to work on. And especially if you've recorded the matches, like that is the best thing. I remember doing my first blue belt competition. I recorded it. I got choked out. And it was at the Galway competition. And I was like, oh, God damn it. But I saw the grips that the guy got. And then afterwards came into the gym, showed the coaches. And I was like, can you show me how to defend this? So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get caught on that again.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And I'll always go back to the very, very first time I competed. Obviously, look, the first time we all competed, it's a nervous wreck, like, because we'd never done this before. So the first time I think I ever competed, I think it was at a Naga. It was when Naga was in Ireland at the time. I think I got Naga twice in Ireland, but the first time I competed, I remember, I was raring to go. They didn't think anything of it being coming from, like I said, coming back from that football thing. Your ego's great, and then you go into competing. The day of that competition, I've never been as nervous in all my life. And I remember I had cut weight because at the time I was walking around at about 80, and I cut down to 76, but I overcut. So I think I was walking around at about 72 kgs. But I was grand, signed up for Naga. On the day, they were like, there's no one in your division, but there's a guy above that's going to, I said, look, I've come this far, I might as well compete against him. So he was 82.5 or 82.3, whatever the next bracket up was. And I remember, I was like, all right, look, I'll give it a go. My first match lasted, I think, 29 or 30 seconds. The guy choked the head off me. But like I said, since then, he guillotined me. So since then, I don't think I've been guillotined in a competition since then. And like you were saying, you look back at that and you're like, yeah, we make mistakes, but we learn from them. No, saying that, wait for my next competition, I'll probably get freaking guillotined. Guys will listen to this, they'll be like, he hasn't been guillotined. We'll see about that.
Look at this guy bragging. He hasn't been caught in the guillotine. You're going to be caught now, Tim.
I hope they chase my neck.
And one question I do have for you. Where did the nickname Two Metal Tim come from?
So, it was my own fault. It was me bragging. So it was the second or third competition I think I had done, and the team had all gone to it. That was a good few of us. I think there was about 12 or 13 of us. So I think about 2 days later, PJ wanted to know how many people, or who had won what, or how many medals were won. Excuse me. So that was fine. I was the first one to comment, and I was like, oh, I won a gold and silver. So then, like, you'll have an ego in the club, and the guys won't be long bringing you back down to earth. So I think the boys jumped on it, and they were like, oh, look at me, huh? I won this, and I won that. And I was like, oh, what am I after doing? So that went down for a while, and they were like, oh, we'll throw a parade for you and all this. And one of the guys goes, oh, we'll start calling them Two Metal Tim. So I think it was either Steve or Mark. I can't remember who came up with it. That's where it started, and it kind of didn't really build much traction after that. But then I think, was it about a year later, I think I was up for a grading or something like that, and I think John Kavanagh was down, and Mark, I was one of our head coaches below, and Mark must have said something to John on the way down, because I think John was staying at Mark's place, and for the whole grading, John was basically taking the piss out of me, and he was like, oh, I learnt everything from Two Metal Tim, and the Two Metal Tim showed me this, and ever since then, it definitely has stuck. And look, I didn't at the start, I was like, oh my God, I hate this nickname. But then I was like, do you know what? Just embrace it. I said, look, it's just a nickname. I said, look, it's not a big deal. And I think I actually use it as my Instagram handle now. Like, you often see, like, Tim BJJ or whatever. I said, do you know what? It's something different. I said, sure, why not just go with it?
When you messaged me during the week about coming up to train, I remember just looking at your name and I was like, Two Metal Tim. And I was like, why is he called Two Metal Tim? So I went through your Instagram post trying to see, do you always win two medals, or where did the name
And
come
to be
from?
fair, for a while I was winning 2 medals. No, I probably getting would say maybe losing matches, but I was still coming away with medals or something. And the boys were like, "Oh, look, 2 medals at it again," and all this stuff. So, no, to be fair, I'd say I don't know when the hell the last time I won 2 medals. So, I think the higher up the ranks you go, it is harder to get on a podium. It's harder to get matches too, though, because like, I'm Masters 2 now, so obviously I'd started my Jiu-Jitsu when I was in my 30s. Like, you see most guys my age are either quit or they're obviously black belts by now.
Yeah.
So there is a few, like, but I think that's why I'd like to travel a bit. Like, I like to go to, say, over to England or maybe off to Spain or wherever there's an IBJJF or whatever comp. I don't really care. You'll look at the brackets and you're like, oh, there's 4 or 5 in that bracket. At least I'm getting a couple of matches. Like, you know, like my biggest problem the whole time was, so being Masters 2 is not being a whole pile of competitors in Ireland at Masters 2 at Brown Belt, that you'll go up to a competition, they'll be like, oh, look, we're throwing you down to the adults. And you're like, okay, look, I'm getting a match at least, but then you're getting absolutely destroyed by a fella in his mid-20s. Like, and this would have been a purple belt because I haven't competed much at Brown, but at purple belt, 25, 26-year-olds and full of testosterone. And I'm like, I don't think I've any testosterone left inside me.
But yeah, it's crazy. And I suppose now as the sport is going to be evolving more, and I'd imagine in the next few years, more people are going to be joining. There might be more competitors in those brackets, but obviously they'll probably be in the brackets below you.
Yeah.
So when you're entering these competitions, I'd imagine it's quite off-putting when you see there's very little amount of people.
There would be, and like you know yourself, when you compete, like you're investing time and money, because like, say if you go to a competition, you obviously have to get yourself ready. So that might take 4, 5, 6 weeks, however long, depends on what way you're feeling or whatever. You're investing money and stuff like that. That like, I do like the Sheridan brothers, their competitions, because to be fair, they're cheap. Like, and it's not the fact that they're cheap, it's like that usually you will get, because like they come down to Cork. So my problem is a lot of people in Kerry, Cork, Clare, Tipperary, wherever, don't like to travel. They won't travel up to Dublin or whatever. So at least when they come down to Cork, they're like, okay, I have a chance of a match here, like, you know, or maybe 2 matches or something like that. So that's why I like them, like, because they had the one in Cork and Galway and Dublin. But most of the competitions are in Dublin. And look, that's fine too. I'm so used to now at this stage, like, that would say our first competitions, we would have done Naga in Dublin, and we would have done the Midlands Open, I think was another one we did. So like, you can imagine, at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, getting into the car with 4 or 5 lads and going up to the Midlands, waiting for everyone to compete. And you might have one match, you might lose that match. That's grand, that's fine. Look, it's all experience. But then having to travel all the way back down for 4 or 5 hours, and you're like, oh my God. And the worst thing is, if everyone else in the car has done well and you're sitting in the back going, oh, this is great.
And it's funny because Jack Armstrong said the exact same thing, because he's in Mayo and he was saying most of the competitions are in Dublin, or even if he has to go to one in Belfast, he's up at 5:30 in the morning, and then he's gone for all day, and then when he comes back it could be nearly midnight when they're home.
Yeah.
So down your direction it must be very similar.
It is. And to be fair, and look, most of the comps are either, I like the comps that are on a Saturday, because the thing is, if a comp's on a Saturday, then it gives me time to, would say, relax with herself, or just go for a walk on a Sunday, whatever I want to do. Maybe go for 1 or 2 pints on a Saturday night or something like that, and would say, do whatever I got to do. But if it's on a Sunday, the problem is then, like, your Sunday is wasted, and you obviously, to be fair, herself is very understanding, and she knows the story, like, and she'll come with me and she'll support and stuff like that. But like, you're taking time away from her as well, which is never good. Like, but look, she's understanding, and look, she knows the story. She comes, she supports, and sometimes she's even cornered me, even though there isn't the whole. I remember the first time she ever cornered me, she goes, I know nothing about jiu-jitsu. What will I do? And I said, just tell me the time. I was like, look, if there's a minute left, and I'm still in the match, just tell me there's a minute left. And to be fair, she's gotten quite a little bit better at it, like, because like that, being from Kerry, not a lot of guys go to the camps. Like, so there's been camps where I've gone on my own. No, to be fair, you meet good guys like John Kelly in Dublin. He's cornered me a few times. Podge O'Connell from BJJ has cornered me. Patrick Sheridan's even cornered me a few times. And like I said, that's good to see. Like, no, we've gotten better as a club that would say, I'll go to competitions with the white belts and the blue belts, especially if it's their first camp. It's nice to have a coach there. Like, no, I always had a coach there. My first few camps, well, guys have lives and guys are busy and it's a long way to travel. Like, so I just said in my own head, I said, I'm a grown adult. I'll travel myself. And like, I remember the first camp I went to on my own was actually all the way up to Northern Ireland. I think it was at the Northern Ireland Open. And my brother dropped me off to the bus stop because I didn't want to travel. My thinking was I didn't want to drive up because if I got injured, I'd no one to drive me down. So I'd get the bus up and I'd get the bus back down. My God, never again. Never again. I was on the bus for about 4 or 5 hours. Went up to Belfast. Well, I was up there for about 11 o'clock at night. I said, I better get to sleep. I said, checked into the hotel or whatever. I said, I better get to sleep. Woke up the following morning, got a light out breakfast, went down to the thing, competed, got beaten my first match. And I was like, that was a long way to go to get beaten my first match. But to be fair, I was happy. Look, the guy that, and the usual excuse, the guy that beat me won it. But I was like, it didn't matter to me. I said, I'm after going all this way and I still get beat. And that's fine too. Look, I put that down to experience. And I wouldn't change that because to me, that was experience. And I think you need to do that. Like, you know, especially if you're a white belt. And I say this to the guys, look, competition's not for everyone, but at least try it once. At least try it once, you know. And look, if you try it once, you might get to like it. You might hate it. Look, there's a lot involved with competition. There's the nerves, there's making sure your weight's on time, on point, making sure that you're on time, making sure you've got the right equipment, you know the rules. And like for a long time, I didn't know the rules. And I was like, I'll just wing it. Like, I'll just see what happens. No, to be fair, I never got disqualified, thank God. But yeah, like that. And like I was always hunting for submissions. Like I was down my own head. I don't need to know the rules. I'll just submit the guy. Yeah. And that didn't always happen. But like since I've gone up the belts, I think you get to learn the rules a little bit from watching matches and stuff like that. And look, even doing the refereeing, that was an eye opener in Galway. Jeez, I was like, okay, this is a different kettle of fish. Because like I was like, I got to be on point and everything. Like, you can't zone out for 2 seconds because, like, especially with the kids or the teens, they're so fast. They're just so fast. Like, it's grand when you get 2 big white belts and there's a lot of pulling and dragging and there might be no takedown for the 5 minutes. You're like, oh, this is great.
The Galway International was great fun for refereeing. That was my first time doing it as well. You were saying nervous with the teenagers and the kids. They were moving so fast.
Oh, my God.
How did you find refereeing, like even the adults?
Like I said, the adults weren't too bad. Like the older, would say the guys would say in their maybe mid to late 20s, because their game is a little bit, even early 30s, their game's a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And especially at blue or purple, you're not going to be rushing into something because you're going to get caught in something. I think the white belts, like at teens and adults, young adults would say, they're just so fast. Like, and I was like, I obviously rolled with white belt teens before, like, but like it's a different story when you're just standing back watching them going and you're trying to zone in on points here, like, and you're like advantages and all this, and you're just like, oh my God. Like, I think I refereed one match and I was like, I missed an advantage, and I was like, oh no. But then it's like the guy won something, like, was it 8-0 or something? I was like, I didn't feel too bad. I said, thank God he won anyway. At least he won handy, like. But look, to be fair, I think with the kids, I think the very first match I refereed was 2 young fellas, and obviously it's only 3 minutes, like, and I was like, okay, got to be on the ball here. I don't want any kid getting injured or something. Obviously safety is first, like, and it was a stalemate. It was 0-0. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to break one of these young fellas' hearts. To be fair, they were 2 good young fellas, and the guy, the young fella that lost wasn't that bothered about it. I was like, oh, thank God, at least he didn't start crying. I said, there's not worse when you see young people crying. You're just like, oh no.
Their parents will never forgive you.
Yeah. I'd be like, I've broken this young fella's heart. I'm going to get attacked out in the car park. But to be fair, though, I didn't get no hassle, I say, which is good. Look, and look, I've competed a lot myself. I've always shown respect to referees. And I said, look, I've had calls gone against me and I've had bad calls. I'm like, there is no point in arguing with a referee, number one. And I said, number two, we're supposed to be about respect. I said, what's the point in you effing and blinding a referee when he's made his decision? Look back at the video. Maybe you made a mistake that led to that or whatever it was. Like I said, always show respect. Like I'll ask a referee a question. Why did you give a point there? To be fair, if a referee's sound, he'll tell you. Like, and I've even had it at the Irish Open. I think it was a white belt. It was my I won my first match, and the second match, I think I thought I had gotten a sweep. I was obviously a white belt, but he said to me after, and he even brought me onto the mat. He goes, "I'll show you." He goes, "You didn't have any hooks in, so I can't give a sweep." And I was like, "Okay, fair enough. At least I know now." And that's a good referee. Like, you're like, yeah, fair enough. Like, but like I've had guys that would be black belts, and they made some bad calls, and I'm like, this guy's supposed to know the game. But look, to be fair, refereeing is tough going. I've only done one event, so I can't overly comment too much on it. But it's tough going. Like, it's like any aspect you do. Like, if you're a competitor, a coach, or a referee, they're all hard jobs. Like, I don't think, and I was thinking about it during the week. I said, which is the hardest? And I said, obviously, competing yourself is going to be the hardest because, like, you're the one in there. I think, look, for me, and I've only done one refereeing thing, but I think coaching is next because, like, you want your teammate to do well. And you're giving instructions, they mightn't follow it, but then you're like, I can't control this. You want to go out and just go put your leg here or put your hand there, and you're like, I can't do that, obviously. But like, I think that is tough as well. Like, and then you have refereeing, then like you have to know the rules. I think, okay, to be fair, you can't go in there and like I've heard things about, say, competitions where the referees don't know the rules, and you see it online, and you're just like, okay, look. To be fair, I think once you get that enough of a standard at Jiu-Jitsu, you should know some of the rules. And like we did the course there, what was that, a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
And I was like, that opened my eyes, because like even the videos we had to watch for the IBJJ, I was like, there was things I didn't know, and I was like, I'm a brown belt and I don't know. I was like, what am I be doing? So yeah, it's good. Like, and like I always said, like, we're always learning. Like, you talk to black belts and they're always saying, I don't know everything. Like, you would look at a black belt and you think that they should know everything. Black belts don't know everything. So yeah.
It's a continuous cycle of learning. And it was great because even at the Galway event, I was chatting with Pat, and I was nervous doing my first referee match. I was like, oh, I hope I do not make any bad calls. And then thankfully it was like a white belt masters ultra heavyweight match.
Sweet.
Oh, it was so simple. The two lads were just taking it so slow. And I remember looking over at Pat Sheridan and just been like, thank you for giving me, this is the first one. But as you said, that we did that course night in TUD Tala, and watching those videos and getting the information, and then having even Jack Dolan there, like, because I think he's going on to be an IBJJF ref.
Oh, I would say so. He would be good enough. Like, I think it was my last competition at purple belt. It wasn't a great match. I remember, I think I lost by an advantage, but I remember talking to Jack after, and I didn't ask him anything, but he came over straight away and he's like, look, I get points here, here, here. He was able to break every single thing down, things that I probably didn't even know about. And I look back at the video after and I go, yeah, he was right. That's the level of referee that you kind of want to aspire to be like, is like Jack is very good. Like, and there is some good referees out there, like, so yeah, it's all learning, like, and yeah,
it's fun. The pressure at times though is insane. But after doing the refereeing course, do you take all that knowledge back and apply it to when you're doing your classes, and just even when you're doing like roles in the gym, if anyone comes up and they're like, oh, what would this be in a competition? Do you find that's been beneficial?
Oh, 100%. Like, even at the moment, I'm would say I'm with the beginners, I'm showing takedowns. So I would never have, I wouldn't say I would never have said, like, because you'd been showing your takedowns and you'd be like, okay, look, you get your takedown and you get your 2 points or whatever. But now I'm like, okay, guys, you get your takedown, hold for 3 seconds, advance, but make sure you hold for that 3 seconds. Make sure that the referee can, see. And that's where I've kind of got, because even in the Galway thing, you've been refereeing and a guy get a takedown, but he wouldn't be able to stabilize it. Yeah. Like, before, I would have been like, that's 2 points. Whereas now I'm like, no, he needs to hold for 3 seconds or whatever. Yeah, like, even with was it last week? I think or 2 weeks ago, I was showing pulling guard, and I was like, okay, pulling guard, obviously you don't get points for pulling guard. But I said, if you're going to pull guard, then make sure that you get a sweep off of it. So I'll be showing, maybe, we say, the De La Riva sweep or something like that. I said, look, if you're going to pull guard, make sure you have a purpose. So don't just pull guard for the sake of it because you don't know takedowns, which most white belts don't know takedowns. So yeah, I think it's trying to get that aspect into them. And it is tough, like, to teach brand new white belts the rules of the game, because you can't, because they haven't a clue what's going on anyway. So it's all experience for them, like. So yeah.
And you mentioned how you're doing the coaching now in your gym. How did you find the transition from being a student to doing the coaching?
For me, so I got into coaching, I suppose. PJ, I remember I was off the mat for a year because I had an injury, and I asked PJ, could I coach? So for me, with my own rolling, obviously when you're rolling yourself and you're not concentrating on anyone else, it's all about you. But since I've started the coaching, number one, I think my technique has gotten better. No, I say this to PJ, my cardio has gotten way worse. Way worse. Because the thing is, like, you're concentrating on them people, and like, my thing is, like we say, on a Tuesday and Thursday night, I probably train 3 or 4 nights a week, but like on a Tuesday and Thursday is my main nights, and we say I'll go in, I work till 6 o'clock, I finish work, I go straight into training, and the beginner start at 6:45. I'll do them for an hour and 15 minutes, and then my own class starts. So it does take away from my own class, my own training a little bit, but my attention to the details has definitely gotten way better. I think it has to, like, because like I said to you earlier, you don't want to be showing bad technique, like, and you have to break it down a little bit, because like, they're white belts and they don't know what's what, they don't know what sweeps are, they don't know anything. So it's like, I think of it at times as like they're new kids, they're just kids, and you're just like, you're talking to a kid. Look, I'm not treating them like kids, like, but it's like talking to a kid and showing them something new. Like, most of the guys that come in with us are like probably in their 20s, probably. Like, we've even got a guy that I think I handed out a stripe to him this week. It was actually the day of his birthday I gave him a stripe. He was 56. He's not at it long, like. And he comes in with his daughter, and I was like, that's great to see. Like, I said, don't, like, his daughter's very young. His daughter's only like, I actually don't know, she's only about 13, 14. But like, to see her father coming in as well, and he's trying something new, that's great to see. Like I said, at that age, like, I got into it when I was in my 30s, which is hard enough, let alone in your 50s. Like, I was like, fair play. Like I said, getting into it at that age, and like, we've got, I think we've one white belt in our club, and I think he's well into his 60s, and he still comes in, like, obviously the movement mightn't be the best, like, but
He's trying.
he's still coming in, like. And you're like, I always take my hat off to the older grapplers, like, because obviously I'd started when I was older. You see the younger guys, and you're like, they'll be fine, they'll manage it, like, they'll figure it out eventually. Like, if they're 17, 18 and they're starting, I'm like, by the time they get to 20, they'll surely have figured something out. You'll be hoping anyway.
But that's actually incredible. People in their 50s and 60s starting.
Yeah.
Like, fair play to them. Like, it's not an older person's game at times.
Jeez, no, definitely not. Like, and you know yourself, you roll with a guy that's in his mid-20s. Okay, even if you get the better of him, you know that you've been in a dogfight. You're just like, oh, okay, in the gi you can slow him down a little bit, but in no gi, geez, that's another kettle of fish, like, because you have no grips and stuff like that. Okay, look, experience enough, you'll get your hand grips or whatever, like, but trying to slow a guy down that's in his mid-20s, and you're just like, I just came in for a bit of fun.
Yeah, I didn't come in to get killed today. And just a quick one for you, because you're an older grappler. Hope you don't mind me saying that.
Oh, 100%.
You're in a smaller weight category as well. How do you find tackling like the younger, heavier students that would come in? Because I know for myself, like, I'm just 30, so I'm in the Masters Club now. But hey,
Yeah, welcome.
and you get these young lads who are probably, I don't know, maybe early 20s, and they could have at least 20, 30 kilos on me, and they're coming at you like hammers of hell. So what tips can you give me to slow them down?
For me, I think it's all head control. I think, look, especially if they're bigger than you. Look, I'll go with no gi. I'll throw gi to the side for a second. But especially in the no gi, I think it's all head control, because obviously, like, they've got a massive body, like, or whatever. But like, I think if you can control the head, like, and direct the head away from you a little bit, and you can kind of maybe shoot to get a pass or something like that, an underhook or something, anything. It's all about surviving for me, like, you know. But like, I think that's the head control is a big thing. Like, if you can get head control, I think it'll help a lot. Like, if it's a stand-up game, oh God, just pull guard.
Get in, elevate them, and then work to
Try and
get
get
on top.
underneath them or something, you know. But like, and like I said earlier, I think before the podcast, I said, would say at the start, like, if you get a much bigger, heavier guy and he's younger, okay, you're going to get the better of him for a while. But once he starts picking up a bit of technique or a bit of, you're like, oh no, I'm in trouble here. So that's why I like to get him early. I'm like, I'll get this guy now, because in maybe 2 years' time, he'll probably be killing me, you know?
No, absolutely right. I normally have a rule just for myself for when I'm rolling, that if it, like, I'll watch some of the bigger guys come in that are white belts, and if I see that they're big, like overly big and strong, maybe just say 20 kilos heavier than me, I won't roll with them till they at least get like maybe 2-3 stripes under their belt, so that they're more controlled with their movement, because we've all picked up little injuries along the way.
Yeah.
So
Like, I'll give you an example. I think and this is from a floor roll. I think the mark is actually kind of gone now, but I was floor rolling with a guy on Tuesday night, and I think PJ rolled with him first, or floor rolled him first, and he goes, "Oh, you roll with him." I said, and I kind of knew this guy's a little bit spazzy. I said, "Look, it's a floor roll. He should be okay." We were flowing away, and I said, "Look, Joe, I'll put him in a little bit of close guard, see what he'll do." And I said, "Look, I won't go hard." I said, "I'll open it up a little bit." The second I opened it up, don't know why, but out of nowhere, bang, elbow into the head. I was like, okay, I'm seeing stars now. I was like, thanks for that, PJ. I said, oh, Jesus. I was like, oh my God. But like, you gotta realize that there is spazzy guys out there. And like, in our gym, we're lucky that we had the beginners class, so they roll with each other. Let them kill each other. Once they get maybe 3 or 4 stripes, move them up into the advanced class. By that stage, they're maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years into it. They have enough technique or enough whatever that they're going to get killed, but they'll be able to survive and they won't hurt the person. Like, I've rolled with guys before where I've gotten hurt, and I'm like, oh my God, because like, we're not that big, like, and you get a bigger guy and he just throw himself onto something, and you're just like, oh, this is going to hurt in the morning, you know.
you're like, I'm gonna take a flowy, and then it goes from in a flow roll to like, this is a fight for my life. Oh geez. And just to touch back on the coaching aspect, you were saying you've been doing that now for a while.
Yeah.
What advice do you give to maybe a white belt or maybe even an early blue belt who's looking to compete? What's your approach to telling them, like, if they're interested in competing?
Like, I would say to them, look, just tell us that you're looking at a competition. It might be in 3 months' time, or it might be in 2 months' time or whatever. And you try and help them. So like, you'd pull them aside and be like, okay, what weight class are you? What are you weighing at the moment? We'd say you're 80 kgs. Okay, you're going to have to cut down to 76 or go up to 82 or whatever. You'd be like, are you willing to cut the weight? Are you willing to do this? You'd put a couple of weeks aside for them then. And I tend to, would say, the beginner's class, if it's a beginner that comes to me, I'd be like, okay, we'll do maybe a couple of shark tanks or something like that. Or what we did for a while was, if a guy has never competed before, we'll match him up with someone. We'll set it up in the gym as if it was a normal competition. We'll get teammates on both sides. We'll say, for argument's sake, I'll referee, or maybe PJ or Mark or someone will referee, someone will do the scoreboard. We'll get them into that. Okay, it's not the same as a competition, but we'll try and get them into that same atmosphere. That, okay, this is what it's kind of going to be like, only much more intense.
Yeah.
You're going to have people roaring and shouting. Hopefully not. But like, you're going to have noise there. Like, you're going to have the noise. You're going to have, would say, your teammates there supporting you. You're going to have a coach. So it gets them into the habit as well of trying to find their coach's voice as well.
Yep.
Which I think is a big thing. Like, because, like, you know yourself, when you're in a big hall or whatever like that, trying to find your coach's voice. Now, there are some guys that their voices travel, and you're like, oh, I can hear this guy over the other end of the thing. More people's voices don't carry that well, so you have to try and find that coach's voice, which is a hard thing to do. Like, I've had guys calling to me before, and you're like, I could hear this guy down in Kerry, you know. And then there's other guys, and you're like, I can't hear a fucking word this guy's saying.
Yeah. And that's good. And when we were sitting on the mat before the podcast, we were chatting. I always tell anyone that comes up to me, like, even though I'm not a coach, like, they ask me random questions, I always tell them to maybe go to another gym, do a bit of cross training.
Oh, 100%. I think the cross training is great. I've started doing the cross training. I'd say since I was a blue belt, I'd say maybe even late white belt, and I find the cross training is great. Like when you're in your own environment and you're rolling in your own gym, the thing is you're getting used to the same bodies the whole time. Same roles, they know your game, you know their game, and I won't say it becomes a bit stale because guys can change up their game a little bit, but I think when you go to a different gym, you're rolling with different types of bodies, you're rolling with different people. They might have a game, like you might have a game, and it might work. It mightn't work, sorry, it mightn't work in the gym, but then you go to a new gym and it starts to work again. I think it is great, like, and I think with the available, like, especially with social media nowadays, you have so many gyms online. Like, I remember when I started, there wasn't that many gyms online, and it wasn't that long ago, to be fair. But like, I don't think I even knew my own club was in Killarney. You know, and now you see it, like, you have, like, we say, even in Kerry, you have like a couple of gyms. Like, you go to Cork, you have loads of gyms. Like, you go to Limerick, there's gyms. And like you look at the standard, like up the road from me, an hour up the road from me, there's Tom Halpin, like, and like a world class grappler, like, and I just said, this is up the road, like. I said the availability, like the standard in Jiu-Jitsu in Ireland has gone through the roof. Like you see so many good guys now, like whereas when I started, you might have had a couple of guys, but they were mostly all based in Dublin, like, you know. So like, and to be fair, I don't mind traveling. I'm so used to traveling now at this stage. That is okay. Like, definitely with the white belts, I would tell them go train with someone new. Okay, maybe not for the first 6 months because their game is not great, and you don't want them going to another gym and injuring someone. And then one of their head coaches ring you saying, "Lad, what the fuck you sending this guy up for?" And I'm like, I didn't send him up.
He went on his own accord. But even at that, like, you just see a lot of people going and doing a lot of cross training, and I find it beneficial myself. Like, you can pick the mind of someone, or even like you've competed against someone, they might have beaten you, and then you could drop into their gym and be like, "Here, you bet me with a cross collar choke. Can you show me how to do that?" Like, that's so beneficial. Like,
Yeah, 100%. I think, like, I even see is it Kildare Jiu-Jitsu, I think they are, yeah. Like, I've competed against Peter Butler. I've competed against him, I'd say, maybe 3 or 4 times. And he's beaten me, I'd say, every time. I'm like, Grant, this guy's, he's legit. I'm like, but I've gone to his gym and I train with him, and I'm like, you know, maybe show me that, you know. And he'd be like, yeah, he goes, go on. But like, to be fair, if a guy is good, and even if he shows you and you know what's coming, sometimes you mightn't still be able to stop it. Like, but look, to be fair, like, that's the whole thing. I think there's that bit of camaraderie in Irish Jiu-Jitsu, which is great. Like, coming from GA, you have none of that. Like, you're like, oh, these guys down the road, we don't even talk to them. Like, whereas, like, I go to a competition there and I'd be talking to guys in Dublin, Cork, and wherever, like, and it's so friendly. Like, to be fair, I don't think I've met a bad, no, there probably is there, but to be fair, if they are there, I probably tend to stay away from them anyway. Like, but to be fair, majority of guys in Jiu-Jitsu are just sound, like, and like, everyone's on the same goal. Like, we're trying to get better, like, and I think by going to other gyms, like, especially as a coach, I like, even today now I called up and like I might pick up a little bit of, like, even Tyrone's younger brother, what's his name? Lyndon, sorry. Like, I rolled with Lyndon and he went to that tripod and he was like, I'll be able to sweep him here, no problem. For the life of me, could not sweep him. But like, I'll pick that up and I'll be like, okay, I'll do a little bit more research than that, and I'll take that back down to my own gym. And I'll be like, I'll try this, you know. Guys below my gym might have never seen it, and that's the whole idea of it. Like, it's just like, we're all in it together, like, and we're all trying to make each other better. It's not just about my club is the best or my club is this, and it's like, no, go train with someone else, like.
yeah. And it's crazy because I've heard stories before when jiu-jitsu was first starting out that people didn't want you cross training, didn't want you sharing secrets and that. But now with social media, there's no secret.
There is no secrets, and it's great. Like you said, when I started, I had my club, and like I said, I'd say it was probably early blue belt, late white belt. Maybe I might have gone to 1 or 2 gyms, and there might have been another SBG. It might have been SBG Cork, and that's okay. Like, and, you know, but like, there was no such thing of coming up to Limerick, or would say even up here. Like, we wouldn't have heard them because you'd be like, oh, I have no idea. Like, you're only new to the game as well. Like, but look, I think when I was, what was it, my mid-20s, I did a small bit of MMA in a club, and look, the vibe was, you got to be a killer, you got to be a killer, you got to be a killer. Whereas I think that mentality doesn't work because guys do not stay at it. Like, I think, look, maybe it's people have gotten softer, maybe they haven't, but I think you need to you need to be a good teacher, and you need to. There's no point in getting sour with someone over something that they don't know. Maybe it doesn't suit their body type. Maybe obviously they've never seen it before. Like with the coaching aspect, like you gotta be nice to people anyway. But like, show them something. If they don't get it, okay, I'll try and help you out as much as I can. Maybe it doesn't suit you. Maybe I will try and cut a different angle. Maybe your friends are. Maybe there's something off about your game, but we'll have a look at it. Like if you were to be roaring and shouting at a guy, he's gonna be like, oh, screw this, I don't want this at all. Like we're all adults. Like you, especially look, if you're working all day and you've had a hard day at work, the last thing you want to be doing is coming in and having the likes of me roaring and shouting at you, and they're gonna be like, this guy's an asshole. You know, I don't want this class. So you got to be nice to people, like, and yeah, definitely be nice to people. So look, be a killer on the mat, like, but once the roll's over, that's where it ends. Like, and you shake the person's hand and you move on. Like, yeah.
And having patience as well is a big thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Especially with like lower belts, like, they're trying to set something up. Like, I'll let them work. I don't care if they tap me or whatever, like, because I'm trying to help them, because they're trying to do a new technique, which is great. And you let them work, but they've put their foot in the wrong position, and you don't want to be like, no, you have to move your foot that way. Sometimes I'll just like tip their foot and just point over to the other way, just to give them that little nudge. And
you'll help them out.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Like, and like the thing is, it's training. I don't care. I go into training. I don't care if I tap 20 times. I don't care. No, to be fair, you're not trying to tap. Like, you're not going, oh, okay, take my arm or take my leg. You're still going to fight, like. But look, if you get caught in something, and like, to be fair, the standard in our club, like, is like when we started first. Like, I remember when I started, I think, what was it? PJ was a purple belt and Mark was a blue belt. Two boys are black belts now, and like, obviously I was a white belt. I'm a brown belt. Dave, Pat. There's like, the standard in our club has gone through the roof. Like, it's just, and it's getting better. I think our biggest problem is trying to get numbers in the door. Like, and being from, we say, obviously Killarney, it's more of a tourist town. I says we get a lot of drop-ins from America, tourists mostly. They might be over for a week and they might be like, oh, I need a session or whatever. Or guys, there's a few of the guys down from Dublin. They might come in, they'll be like, oh, Johnny, is it okay if I roll? Yeah, work away. But like, we have a core group of maybe about 14 or 15 guys that are there in the advanced class. Now that is getting bigger, because like every maybe year or maybe 2 years, you're adding one or two guys in from the beginners class and stuff like that. But look, like that, it's slow going, like, but we'll get there, like any other club, like,
It's consistency.
Yeah, it is consistency. And I think I actually said that to the beginners during the week. I think, what did I say to them? I said, consistency leads to progress. And they were kind of like, does he mean just get the fuck in here? And I was like, yeah.
Get more time on those mats.
Yeah, get more time on the mats. And that's what it's all about. And I think even at the time, I think all the blues, purples and browns and blacks were sitting over the thing. And they're probably like, this is intimidating. But I was like, these guys didn't get to where they are by staying at home, watching TV, watching Netflix. And that's fine. I always treat it as a habit. And what I mean by that is, I think when I started, I think it was a 10-week beginner's course or something like that. And I think after 6 weeks, the guys were like, we're going to roll. That was the plan. After 6 weeks, first 6 weeks, we're going to learn technique and then we're going to roll. And we're like, okay. Like I said, I was hooked from day one, just even by watching the likes of PJ do this and do that. And I was like, oh man, how's a little guy doing that? Or I won't call him little, because he's actually taller than me. So I was like, a smaller guy, and I am a smaller guy. And like, I remember after 6 weeks, very first roll I think I ever had, I think I tore my groin. I was like, oh my God. But I was still, even after it happened, okay, obviously I couldn't roll. But every night I still came in. And I was like, okay, you're injured, but I can still come in and I can still watch something. I might look. I'm a beginner. I'm only picking this up. You might learn something, and it's good to see that. Like that, it shows you're interested. Anyway, it shows your coach you're interested, and you're just like, okay, look, I'm in here and I want to learn something. Look, you might never ever compete, and that's fine too. You're learning a martial art, like, so. Yeah, it's, for me, I like to see that. I like to see that dedication,
So we have touched on about older grapplers getting into sport. You were saying there's people in your club in their 50s and 60s. And I know this is a bit of a random question, but what advice would you give to an older person if they're looking to get into jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I would say, like, I'm always, it's never too late to start. It is never too late to start. But the only thing I would say is just, obviously, look, you're a bit older and stuff doesn't work as well, so you're going to have to suit again, like, there's no point in looking at a young guy and going, oh, I could do that. Like, I'm 39 now, and I look at, say, 18, 19-year-olds, and they do stuff, and I'm like, I can do that. And then I go do it, and I'm like, no, I can't. No, I can't. Look, I think for the older people, I think recovery is a big thing. Like, I think, look, getting enough sleep, putting the right fuel into your body. And that's not even older people, that's everyone, I think. But I think, look, for me, I was always skipping on the recovery side of it. I was like, I'll be okay, I'll be fine. And then you get to a stage where you're burnt out and you're like, I can't do this. I'm in my 30s. I'm working a full-time job. I'm going to training 3 or 4 nights a week. I'm competing. I remember there was a stage, I think I did 4 competitions in 1 month. And obviously, look, when you do that, kind of your progress in jiu-jitsu slows down. So I would say not to overload yourself. Take it nice and handy. Get into the game. I would say try and stick to the gi anyway if you can. I said, look, to be fair, look, I do enjoy no gi. I do. It's fun. But like, with the gi, obviously you have the grips, and so if you're an older grappler, you can slow the younger person down a little bit. It's up to them then to figure out how to break grips or whatever. If they can't break grips, that's their problem, So like, you're giving up 30 or 40, maybe 30 years on a guy. Let him figure out how to break grips. Just hold on for dear life.
And especially if you're like training with someone who's worked in construction or something, like they have that deck grip.
Oh my God. Like, I worked at Lakeland for 13 years, and I know my grip is good. Like, but we've got a guy below the gym, like Ross. Like, Ross is only about, he's smaller than me, but like, my God, he works in construction all the time. He gets a grip on you, it's like death. It's like, you're not breaking. I don't care how strong you are, you're not breaking. And you see it, then you often hear about old man strength. Like, it is, look, for us, it's a superpower, I suppose. You get up against the younger guy, especially in the gi, and you grab a hold of the lapel or something, and all you hear every single time is, oh, that old man strength. I'll be like, I don't give a shit. I'm pulling you down here to my level. Like, I'm going to slow you down.
Yeah, I like the gi. I like that for slowing the game down. I like getting nice and gritty. But then no gi, I like to just spin around and in for it. But as you said yourself, it's the recovery aspect, I think, is a big thing.
It is, and like, it's the recovery thing, and like I said, look, ice baths, saunas, whatever makes you helps you recover. Like, I find, like, we say, I'll go training maybe 3 or 4 nights a week, but there are some days I'll wake up and like, I'll be like, I'm broke up here, like, and then, like, my job, you're lifting heavy stuff as well, like. And you're just like, all right, I'm not too bad, but at the same time, like, do I want to do this again next week? So like, maybe on a Tuesday night I might go hard, and then on the Thursday night, all right, I can't go as hard. Like, whereas if you're in your 20s, like, you could probably go hard every night, and you're just like, yeah, I'm fine, and that's fine. Like, and the problem is, when you're older, that recovery time gets less and less. So we say, if I sprain my ankle, I won't say I'll be off the mats, but I'm looking after that ankle for the next 6-8 weeks, like. Whereas a young fella is like, 2 days later, he's springing all over the place, and you're like, oh,
jealous. Absolute jealousy right there.
Yeah, and it does. You're just like, oh my God, I wish I was young.
No, absolutely. Gotta prioritize that recovery. And as you were saying, saunas, ice baths, whatever it is, even going out for walks, like, as active recovery.
Yeah. I do it on a Sunday. Myself and ourselves will head away for a walk. We won't do anything strenuous. We won't go up, and we're not climbing Carrantoohil or anything like that. Like we might go for a walk down the park or something, like carry the dog for a walk. We'll just try and get out and about. Like, I think about 6 or 7 months ago, I started taking creatine. I used to never take creatine. I find if I started taking creatine, I've always taken magnesium and vitamin C, and it kills me because, like, I got sick there about a month ago. I got chest infection. I was giving out to myself, I take my vitamins every morning. How am I getting sick? But like, I'll probably run down or something like that. But like, I do think supplements like that, like creatine for me is great, because like, when I was at work without creatine, come 3 o'clock, I used to be dead. And I used to be like, oh my God, like, and I was eating right and everything. And I was like, and then since I started taking creatine, I'm fine all day. I don't have massive levels of energy, but it gets me through the day, and I'm like, okay, like, maybe eventually I'll go down on the TRT road, like, but at the moment, I always said in my own head, I said, I'll never go on TRT as long as I'm competing. I said, that's not fair. Like, I said, look, to be fair, you're up against guys that are your own age. You'd be hoping they're not on TRT either. They could be, like, but look, it's something eventually I'll look down the road at, and like I said, look, obviously I'd go do it proper through a doctor or whatever. I wouldn't go buying it off the side of the street and end up getting a heart attack off of it or something like that. But
Well, the day you start taking TRT, you have to change your Instagram name to TRT Tim.
yeah. I will. You'll know straight away. I'll change my Instagram name to TRT Tim.
Beware all grapplers. Beware. Sorry, I thought of that there and I was like, I have to throw that out.
Good man.
And just to tie back, you mentioned about how the south of Ireland, you have Cork and Limerick and access to the likes of Tom Halpin and that. How has the sport of jiu-jitsu grown in the south of Ireland since you started training?
It has grown massively. Like I said, the standard alone. Like I said, like even look at our own head coach down below is PJ. Like PJ's gone traveling the world, which is like he's involved with the Globetrotters now. Like so, he does events with them. He coaches at that. He does seminars at that. Like so, like to be fair, that level of standard. Like and like you have Mihal over in Tralee. Like there's so many good coaches around the place. Like I remember when I started, it was SBG Killarney, and then you might go to Cork, and there might be a gym or two in Cork or something. Like there might have been one in Limerick. Like now you look at it, there's probably 3 or 4 or 5 in Limerick. There's a good few, and there's a load in Cork. Like even down in Kerry, there's a good few, and they're popping up every so often. I think there's a new gym down in Kinmare. I think I actually don't know who's over there, but like there's a gym down in Kinmare. One of our guys that used to train with us has gone down and trained down there, but he hops up every so often. Like yeah, there's gyms popping up everywhere. I'm sure you see that up here in this side of the country that it's everywhere. Like our biggest problem is that competitions. Like we have that one down in Cork. I think actually is it City Circuit or
Grapple City, is it?
Grapple City? It's a new enough one. I think they do one in Cork now as well. So at least you've the option. Like whereas I remember when I started, you had to go to Dublin. That was it. It was just Dublin and that was it. Dublin or abroad, and you're just like now at least you had a couple of more. And look, I'm sure in 5, 6, 7 years time there'll be more. Like maybe there'll be one in Kerry. Who knows? You know.
I think there is actually. I seen on Smooth Comp, is it the Killarney Cup?
No, it's for the kids one. I think it's just for kids. Yeah, and yeah.
You might identify as a kid, you never know.
I get away with it. I'm about the size of a kid, like so, a big kid, like, but
It's crazy though how, as you were saying, like the gyms were popping up. Like I had Jack Armstrong on the podcast on the last episode, and he was saying how even when he started training, like they're all starting to like pop up around the place, and it's great. And as you were saying just there, it's happening in the south. Do you hold like any open mat training between y'all, or is there any connection there, or is that something you'd like to see?
oh yeah, you definitely like to see it. Like no, we have maybe open mats maybe once a month or whatever, and then we get guys from Tralee coming. You get the odd guys from Cork. SBG Cork have them. T45 have open mats. We've gone up to T45, good gym as well. Like we've gone to like even BJJ Cork. We've gone to a couple of them. Like so, I think you do hit a few of them. Like I've always been a good guy to travel to gyms, like, and I like to travel to wherever there's an open mat. Like I said, you're getting new bodies in, so like I kind of went away from that for a little bit. And I don't think my game suffered, but it definitely went back a little bit. So I'm trying to get into that habit. That's why I messaged Lakeland. I was like, you know what? Look, if you let it by the wayside, you tend to go, oh look, I'm doing enough. But I was like, I just bite the bullet and just go. Like I said, what's the worst thing that can happen? Like I said, you're not going to get injured. You're at it long enough now that you know when to tap early or when to how to get out of something. Like so, you'll be fine. Like yeah. So I think would we have a big open man? I don't. We do. Like you know, guys come as much as they want. Like you know. So yeah.
Yeah, and you came all the way up to Mullingar today, so thank you very much.
No problem, and it was a pleasure. It was good. I enjoyed it, and like I said, you a couple of good rolls, and I got to roll with yourself as well. Like so. Yeah.
Him tapped me. Don't worry, he tapped me.
I don't know, was it out of exhaustion? I think we were both fucking. I was trying to break down that turtle and I couldn't. I was like, okay, don't put a foot in here because I said we've got a couple of good guys and I play a bit of turtle myself, and I was like, if you expose yourself by putting something in too quick, you end up on your butt, like, and you're just like, oh no. So I was like, don't rush it, don't rush it. I said, see what happens. I was like,
Yeah, I was waiting to kind of trap your arm to do like the trap and roll, and as soon as I trapped and went to roll, you actually you sprawled out perfectly, and you just had me trapped on my side, and I knew from that moment I was like, there's a sub coming, and it was only a matter of time.
it was good fun though. I enjoyed it, like, and like I said, it's all about it, because like I had never rolled with you before, and I said it's a new experience, and like I said, you could have gone out there and smashed me, and I said I don't care. I said it's a new role. It's good fun, like, and like I'd never roll with anyone of your, would say, body type or how you roll, and that's what it's all about. It's about going to new gyms and trying to explore what works and what doesn't work. Like you might get, there is killers out there that will absolutely smash you. Like to be fair, I didn't actually get a chance to roll with Tyrone today, but I'll be back again, and I'll definitely get him next time. And he'd listen to this and be like, who's that guy?
No, and yeah, it was great getting the rolls in. I actually it's funny enough, the first time I met you was at the ADCC Ireland. You were doing it was the most recent one.
Yeah.
Because I was working on the ref, on the judges table.
Yeah.
I remember seeing I think you were wearing like the green rash guard.
Oh,
and you came over and you gave me a fist bump, and I was just like, who's this guy? Like, and then I read your name on the board, and I was like, all right. And then I met you then at the referees course, and
Yeah.
it's crazy how jiu-jitsu puts you in touch with so many people.
It's mad, like, and like my philosophy is like, say, even when you're going to competition, okay, when you're off the mat, be as nice as you can. Like, it's not a fake thing. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be nice for the sake of it. Like, just being a nice person. Like, once you get on the mat, you can be the killer you want to be.
Yeah.
When you're off the mat, like, and that's always my mentality. Okay, don't get me wrong. I've gone to competitions where things haven't gone my way, and I tend to play my emotions a little bit on my sleeve, and I'm like, oh, damn it. But like, once I get off the mat, I'm like, okay, it's over, it's done. And someone will come up talking to you, be like, oh, how are you getting on? Even win or lose, look, that's done. This person's in front of you talking to you, talk to them like a human being. I see it in so many competitions where you go, and that's probably is the worst thing. But look, it's a competition, so guys their testosterone or whatever, male or female, the energy levels are way up. So maybe, like I said, once I get off the mat, I'll chat to anyone, I'll talk to anyone. I said that's what it's all about, and it's about growing the community. And it's like you came up to me and slap bum. I was like, how are you getting on or whatever, like, and I was like, yeah, it's about being a nice person, like, don't be a dickhead, like.
Yeah, there's only a handful of them in the jiu-jitsu community.
Yeah, like there is not many. Look, the best thing about jiu-jitsu is that them guys leave early days anyway. The guys with the big egos, and they're like, oh, I'm going to kill this guy, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you might think that. Keep that in your head. Don't be
broadcasting it.
Yeah, the one thing I do hate about jiu-jitsu is these call-out things, and I've seen it a few times. Now, these guys don't last, where they end up calling the person out, and you're like, this is jiu-jitsu, this is not MMA. That's fine if you're doing MMA, but if you're doing jiu-jitsu, don't be calling the person out. Like, sign up to a competition. Maybe you might get them, maybe you mightn't. That's it. They're completely different sports.
Yeah, or even if they get a super fight, just even at that.
Yeah. It's not MMA. It's just like, Jesus, yeah, maybe have a bit of back and forth, or a bit of banter, like, it's grand, like, or even, look, if you hate the guy, message him, keep it off where everyone else can see it.
And a question I always ask everyone, even not on the podcast, but where do you see the future of jiu-jitsu heading in Ireland, or in general?
The future, I would like to see, I think it's gone more towards the no-gi aspect of it, and I'd like to see the gi side of it come back a bit. I don't think it's overly bad in Ireland. I think guys mostly train gi, or they train both, sorry. But you'd hate to see it go with the way it's gone in, say, over in America, where it's all no-gi, and it's just like, oh, the gi's dead and all this. And I'd hate to see that, because I'm more of a gi guy. I do like the gi, and look, I think the way things are going, look at the level of the kids. When I started, there was hardly no kids, there was hardly no females. Now look at it, the amount of kids you have in. Imagine if these guys stay at it, and they're what now, they're 7, 8, 9, 10. If they stay at it, by the time they're 18, 19, 20, these guys are going to be absolute animals. Like, you can see it, the amount of guys that are fighting on these super shows abroad, like, within the last 5, 6 years, and you're like, my God, like, you're just like, Jesus, like, it's a standard that, look at the Europeans even, like you see how many people, Irish people, medal at the Europeans, and you're like, this is amazing. It's one thing. It's on my to-do list. It's on my to-do list. I am going to get over there at some stage. Win or lose, I'm just going to get over there. But like, I've been biting the bullet for the last. Look, my biggest problem is with these things is that getting time off work, paying for the hotels, paying for the flights, paying for everything. That look, and that's everyone. That's not just me. Like, but it's like you look at the amount of people that are winning gold medals, silver medals, bronze medals, even, you're just like, that is amazing. Like you would have had a very few back maybe 8-9 years ago. You would have had maybe Darrell O'Connell, maybe. Would there been any more? There would have minded being a few, maybe a handful of guys. Now you're looking at it, and guys go to the Euros and you're getting 20 or 30 Irish people on podiums. You're like, this is amazing. Like, so like, wait till the likes of these kids come into that age where they're fighting for European titles and they're fighting for world titles. You're like, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what happens. So it is bright. I'm just, look, I'd love to see a bit more funding from things, but look, that's probably never going to happen. Like, so yeah.
It'd be nice to see the likes of Sports Ireland recognise it as like a proper sport.
A proper sport, yeah. I think that's it is a sport. As far as we're concerned, it is a sport. I can't understand why they don't recognise it as a sport. Like, it'd be nice if they would. Like, at least then you could be able to maybe get grants and stuff like that for clubs and stuff, which would be great. Like, because like you see, most clubs are renting places. I don't think there's many places in Ireland that actually own a gym. Like, maybe there's a few. Like, obviously the big ones. Like, but like the likes of ourselves, we're renting, and we rent for 3 years. We might have to move on. So like, if you could apply for grants and stuff like that, geez, it'd be great. Like, imagine having your own gym that's actually your place. Like, that would be amazing.
Yeah, you see it with all the GAA sports, not to be bashing on GAA, but they get great funding.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
imagine if they just took like 2% of the funding that they get.
Yeah.
And
Give it to the likes of ourselves. Like, I'm sure there's other. We're probably not the only sport. I'm the likes of. I'm not too sure about judo. They are recognised, aren't they? They are. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. But like, I think there's the judo club in Killarney. I think they actually got a grant for a new building. That's their building now, and it's like, oh man, that fair play to them. I said that's cool. Like, but like you said, like the GA get grants for nothing, for showing up. And you're just like, jeez, give us some money.
yes, please. We will take any donations, anything just to make the sport better in Ireland. So please donate. Tim, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. The final question I have for you today is, have you anything upcoming in the next few months, and which is the best place to reach you online if anyone wants to drop in and have a role?
Yeah, so for me, upcoming in the next couple of months, at the moment, I'm back training. I'm just training, and I'm enjoying my jiu-jitsu. Like I said, I'm in this new brown belt, so I'm enjoying that. There's a couple of guys thinking about going to European, so we're getting them ready. So at least the concentration's off me, and I can kill them for a little bit. I'd say I'll leave competing off now till maybe next year. I'll kind of want to enjoy my Christmas a little bit and enjoy the next couple of months. And so, as for reaching me, yeah, just add 2 Metal Tim and Instagram and the usual thing. I think on Facebook, but does anyone even use Facebook anymore? I don't think so.
I don't know, but I will leave a link to your Instagram page, SBG Killarney's page.
SBG Killarney as well, yeah.
Awesome.
Better give them a shout out. Before we go, I have one more thing for you. I have a little present for you for inviting me onto the podcast.
Jesus, thank you so much. Awesome.
There you go.
Crash card. Sweet. Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
I really appreciate that.
Well, to be fair, you messaged me. I said, I'll get this man. I'll get him a jersey. So I got him a jersey of the SBG Killarney.
There we go. And don't worry, I will post a picture wearing it so everyone can see. And Tim, I really appreciate you taking the time, especially driving up to Mullingar. That's insane. And for anyone who's enjoying this episode of the podcast, if you're listening to the audio version, make sure to give it a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you're watching it on YouTube, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And finally, once again, Tim, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks a minute.